Hey everyone, my name is Ilissa Goman. I am the child sleep consultant, certified child sleep consultant from Binx, and I'm here today to talk to you about three important steps for establishing a really great bedtime routine for your infant. So, I do want to mention that at the end of the broadcast today, there will be a special offer to work with me. So stay tuned for that. Um, and if you are here, click the thumbs up if you can hear me. So, really overall, right, bedtime routines can be really challenging. It can be rough, right? It's like a rough time of day. Everyone's like just getting home. Um, and, it can just be chaos, right? It's really hard to like decide what to do, what's a good time for bedtime, and kind of all of that stuff. So, what do you do? What makes a really great bedtime routine? So, first trick is to keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Um, Really, the goal is just to have a general shift in the energy level, right? Because you want to make sure your child knows that bedtime is here and it's time to wind down, it's time to relax. Sleepy time is coming. So, how do you do that, right? You want to make sure that, like, you're not rushing, just like, okay, it's bedtime, we're going to get through this. Oh, yay. Um, so definitely, just relax. Don't be freaking out like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get this baby to bed? Um, just relax. Um, Bedtime routine should be about 15 to 30 minutes long. If you're doing bath time, that's the beginning. So your routine might be a little bit longer then. Again, keep it simple, right? The next step is going to be keep it relaxing, right? So a typical routine, a really great bedtime, like wind down routine, is going to be put on your baby's pajamas, do the last feed, find some relaxing activities to do. So this might be actually a really good time to use your Tranquilo mat. Because again, that is like really, really soothing, bringing down the energy level. It's a good time to incorporate some baby massage, reading books, singing a song, all of that stuff, right? So again, really, really short. Doesn't have to be long. Another thing is you want to make sure like you're not on your phone as a parent. The TV isn't on. With the TV being on, the TV actually emits blue light, right? So does your phone. So blue light keeps the brain active, and not just when your baby is falling asleep, but those hormones, they tend to linger, and it makes your baby not sleep as well throughout the whole night. So definitely, in the 30 minutes to an hour before bedtime, no TV, no phone. Super important. Definitely, you don't want to overcomplicate things. So like we just talked about before, keeping it simple. When you are keeping it simple, it doesn't, if you are finding yourself, you are bouncing your baby on a ball for an hour and then they're falling asleep, or you're trying to rock them to sleep, and it's just continuing on and on and on, you're missing, there's something missing there, right? You're not doing it quite right. You want to keep it as simple as possible. And if you, in the comments too, tell me like what one of your most relaxing things to do to wind down as an adult is. That would be great, because you'll actually be really surprised that all the things we do as adults, you can start doing those with your child, right? The reading the book, just relaxing into bed. That's how you're going to get quality sleep, and that's how your child is also going to get quality sleep. So don't overcomplicate, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? So keep an eye on the time of bedtime. Schedule is so important, right? This is one of the biggest things I can tell you, right, is this is like, we're going to talk about the magical bedtime. Schedule is super, super important, right? Because basically your child's schedule is dictated by the sun. They're called circadian rhythms, and they're inside your child's body. If you have a newborn, they don't have a biological sleep schedule just yet, right? So they are just kind of all willy-nilly falling asleep whenever, which is totally, totally normal. For a newborn, you really want to go off of their sleepy cues. So if you see your child rubbing their eyes, just looking really tired, they were really active, and then, they're kind of slowing down, those are your cues that they are ready to sleep. So really, really important to get them to bed, right? For babies who are between 10 and 12 weeks, and that timing is from their estimated due date, you want to start noticing, well, you will start noticing a daily schedule start to evolve, right? They're going to be taking longer naps. If you start like charting when their naps are happening each day, you're going to start to notice them starting to develop into a pattern. It's really, really cool to kind of notice this, right? But it's in this age group too, the 10 to 12 weeks is the perfect time to start using what I call the magical bedtime, right? So the magical bedtime is if you have your baby in bed between 6 and 6:30, like in their crib, ready to sleep by 6:30ish, magical bedtime. And it really, really works because basically your infant needs right around 12 hours of sleep at night, right? And biologically, almost all kids wake up between 6 and 7 a.m., right? So we count back the 12 hours, and that's going to put you at the 6:30 bedtime. It lets the hormones relax, right? So if you miss your child's biological bedtime, what can happen? So it's really, really common, to see this. This is one of the biggest things all the time, is that your child is off schedule that I see as a sleep coach. So what happens in the body, right? Okay, so say every night you as an adult go to bed at 10, and one night you're out with friends, you come home at midnight, you lay in bed going, I just gotta fall asleep. I just gotta fall asleep. And it's really, really hard to fall asleep, right? It's because your hormones told you to go to bed at 10, but you surpassed them. So now you've got other hormones that are releasing in your body that are saying, stay awake, stay awake. And that's not what we want, right? Because that actually makes sleep really, really hard. It's hard for your body to get into a deep sleep, a restorative sleep. And so that can be really tricky. So you want to make sure that you're hitting those biological bedtimes with your child, because the same hormones that are in your body as an adult are also in them as kids. So, by establishing really good bedtimes and being consistent and sticking with them, that is going to set you up for a really, really good, baseline for any, healthy sleep that you're going to be working on. So, what else can I talk about? What kinds of questions do you guys have about bedtime routines? And Maria, that's so great. Drinking tea is a really great way to relax and wind down as an adult. Let's see what questions come in. We'll give it a minute for questions. And I will mention that I do have a special code for anyone watching. And it is, the code is Tranquilo, and my website is binxbaby.com. It's BINX baby.com, and that will give you 20% off a Ask Me Anything phone call with me, or $30 off a one-on-one consult, which is like a 2-week plan. Great question, Maria. So Maria says, my husband doesn't get home until later. He's never going to see the baby. What can we do? Yeah, so this is like really, really common. I have kind of like 2 strategies for this. Some babies you can adjust to a little bit of a later bedtime. Like you could do like a 7 to 7, bedtime, and that can work really well. So, you can try that. And I also remind dads too, like, if mom is home with the baby all day and then, dad is getting home, let dad do bedtime, right? Um, let your husband do bedtime. And that can be a really great way for him to come in and wind down with the baby. And really just like relax, right, from his day and relax with the baby. And that can be really a great bonding time for them. Let's see. Alexandra says, juggling kids of various ages between and the baby. What do I do? Yeah. So, Alexandra, you really want to just kind of like, it's hard, right? If you are, you have an older child who is in school, even like preschoolers, a lot of times pickups coincide with your baby's nap time. You really just have to do the best that you can, right? So if you know like the timing of your schedule, then it is really, really easy to kind of go with the flow, and kind of set up all the other sleep pieces to be in place, and do that. So let's see. You just want to kind of do the best you can. It's kind of a hard, hard battle. So Maria also says, our baby's nursery is pretty bright. Should it be dark for naps and nighttime too? Yeah. So, really great question, Maria. So sleep environment, right, is a huge factor too to great sleep. Babies, adults, kids, all of us sleep really, really well when it is really, really dark. Like blackout shades work great. And, you really just want to keep it like it's like a cave, right? If you're using a nightlight for an older child, or because you're still doing a feed at night, you want to place the nightlight behind a piece of furniture like a dresser, so that way it just gives off like a soft glow and it doesn't illuminate the whole room, because light actually suppresses our sleepy hormones. So by having no light, that makes a really, really big difference in in the quality of sleep that your baby is getting. So yes, definitely dark for naps and nighttime sleep. Let's see. Kristen says, is it okay to watch TV as we wind down before bed and during the last feed? So yeah, Kristen, I would say skip the TV, even for newborns, right? Because it does play a difference in our hormone levels. I know as an adult for a long time, I was really guilty of this myself, where you just fall asleep. You're trying to fall asleep at night and you got the TV on in your bedroom and, you fall asleep to that. And what can happen is that when you are used to something when you're falling asleep, your brain is used to that. So at night, when you're going through sleep cycle changes, totally normal, right? You wake up a little bit, you look around your room, and you're like, nope, still nighttime, and you fall back asleep. So babies, same thing, right? We all have sleep cycle changes. So the problem is that if you are doing something at, when they fall asleep that they can't do for themselves, that's when you encounter a lot of sleep issues. Because what happens is that, so when they change their sleep cycles, they wake up, they look around the room, and they're like, oh, it's time, gotta fall back asleep. Wait a minute, my mom was just here, she was just rocking me, let me get her, because that's how I need to fall asleep. So your baby really wakes up then, cries out for you, you come in, fix the problem, and then they fall back asleep. The problem is that sleep cycle changes happen multiple times a night, right? So a lot of times when clients are coming to me and they're saying my baby is waking up 5, 6, 7 times a night, what do I do? It's usually always like a self-soothing, they have to fall asleep themselves issue, right? And do that. But yeah, TV can be a bad habit, because again, it is suppressing those sleepy hormones, and those linger in our brains through the whole night and make it really hard to get really good quality sleep. Yes. Okay. That's a really great question. I think your name is Conchita. Conchita says, what can we do if my son, who's 4 months, wants to take a nap around 6 p.m.? When that happens, he sleeps for about 30 minutes, and then he doesn't want to sleep until around 10:30. So, Conchita, this is actually really, really common, right? He's actually ready for bed at 6 p.m. The half hour, 45-minute mark of waking is a common sign of being overtired. So if you let me know in the comments about your child's nap schedule, I can definitely give you some more tips on that. But yeah, you really want to have him in bed for the night, right around that 6 p.m. mark. I know people are like, what? It really is magical. It works really, really well. And they will sleep really, really great. Let's see. Do we have some more questions? Let me see. We just got a question from Kristen here. Regarding it being totally dark, what about the idea of a natural sleep cycle of the body? For example, as an adult, I was in a routine for a while, going to sleep when the sun would start to set and then waking up as the sun rose. Allowing me to gently enter via near my window, and I'll tell you, I felt better than ever. No. So it's a general balance, Kristen, because as a baby, right, they need a certain amount of sleep per day, right? They need about 12 hours at night. And then depending on age, a set amount of naps, right? So to get that 12 hours though at night and to be waking up with that sunrise time, it ends up being right around 6 and 7 a.m. is the sunrise. So to go backwards, you're going to end up at that 6 p.m. bedtime. So it really does actually go with the sun. It just kind of shifts, like during summer hours, the sun shifts, but their timing still stays the same. Yeah, so Conchita says, I have never timed his naps, but he usually naps really well. So that's really great then. A lot of times what we see is that you might just be having like a span that's too long between the end of the last nap and when he's going to bed. That can cause the overtiredness, which would give him that awake window around the 30, 45-minute mark. Yeah, so that's a great question. So is there anything we can do to prepare for daylight savings time? Yeah, so with the daylight savings time coming up, you can either adjust them beforehand, and let me see, it's fall back. So, I always configure this wrong. So you can either adjust them beforehand by moving their naps 15 minutes earlier, or let's see, is it earlier? Fall back? Yes, I believe it's earlier, to accommodate for the time change coming up, like the 4 days beforehand, and that can prepare you. And I mean, overall, they're gonna fall into the pattern much easier, especially in the fall, because it's already so dark, and that will really help too. Do we have any other questions? These were some really great questions, guys. Thanks. Anything? All right. Well, we can wrap this up for today. And like I said before, so if you go to my website, which is binxbaby.com, it's BINX baby.com, you can use the code Tranquilo as 20% off an Ask Me Anything session, which is a phone call session with me, or you can get $30 off of one-on-one sleep coaching. If you want more information about getting your child to sleep, you can head to my website, which again is thebinxbaby.com. Yeah, so you're welcome, Conchita. So yeah, as a sleep coach, I basically work with babies, toddlers, some older kids, all about establishing healthy sleep habits and routines. And a lot of times, it can be people hear sleep coach and they're like, I don't want to cry it out. It's not like the method part is like such a small piece of sleep, right? That really is the part that you're just working off of whatever you're doing to get your child to fall asleep. But sleep really encompasses so many other things. So really, really good. I basically help parents put together their child's sleep puzzle, where you're looking at schedule and sleep environment, and you're looking at the bedtime routine and consistency as a parent, and then we're looking at the method, and all of those together are going to make your child have healthy sleep. So I work with a variety of different methods, and it's really what you're comfortable with as a parent. Anything else I can answer for you today, guys? I have worked with older kids. Yep. Yeah, so the packages that I offer today, so an Ask Me Anything session is basically just a straight up phone call. There's like a short intake form you fill out, and then it's just a time phone call, and we go over all your stuff. The one-on-one sleep coaching, which is really the bulk of what I do, is you're going to get a custom sleep plan. There's a healthy sleep class on my website that you can take, and then we do a phone call to go over your custom sleep plan. And then you have 2 weeks of email support with me. So that way you are going from where you are now, super stuck, to your child sleeping the 12 hours at night and getting really, really healthy sleep, which is so, so important. And, healthy sleep in general is just, it's not just important for your baby, but it's important for you as a family too, right? It makes a huge difference in your physical health, but also your mental health as a mom, as a dad, especially if you're out working, all of that, it really comes into play. I hear that over and over again from moms all the time, is that this changed our lives, right? Getting healthy sleep makes a huge impact on families. So it's really great to help families like that in that way. So any other questions I can answer? Nothing? All right. Well, thank you so much to Tranquilo for having me today. And I hope you guys will check out my site and let me know if you guys have any questions. Feel free to drop them in the comments and I will make sure to come back and answer them. And I hope you guys have a great day. All right. Bye.